Alright guys, welcome to a new episode of Creative in Focus, and today guys, this is a little bit different setup because I'm alone, and because of the COVID situation going on, I can't even meet my guest. But since we can do online Zoom calling, so that's why our guest is in front. If you guys are seeing this from this angle vision, she's actually inside this laptop. So without further ado, let me introduce to you guys the guest for today's show, Suyin. Hi Suyin.
Hi everyone. Hello.
Alright, Suyin. So for those of the people who doesn't know you, right, can you give me a short introduction of yourself?
Okay, hi. My name is Suyin. I think you might know me from my YouTube channel, and if you have, that is pretty cool. I make videos about money and investing, and I'm also a full-time employee. So that's that.
Alright. So before we actually start the podcast, right, let me just on behalf of your fans in Malaysia, right, let me just say thank you for giving the advices of investing in stocks, financing, how to budgeting yourself. Because truth be told, when I found you out was when I was searching for how do I save money, how do I make more money without doing anything. So
Without doing anything.
yeah. So if you guys are sorry.
Got such thing on without doing anything.
So lah, like without going out from the house lah. So if you guys are interested on topics, right, I will link her YouTube channel in the description below. Go check it out. So, Suyin, we have an interesting topic for today. So technically, 2020 is coming to an end, and how has been 2020 for you?
How has 2020 been? It's well, I know it's really crazy for the most part, right? But at the same time, I feel like this year has been a real year of growth as I started my YouTube channel last year in 2019, and I've kind of gotten into the groove of filming once a week, posting once a week. And yeah, I feel like I've really helped quite a lot of people this year, including myself. So even though it's quite shitty, quite sucky in the whole, pandemic situation, but it's still quite a good flip side as well.
All right. So thinking of like you starting out YouTube channel, right? How long has it been you've been doing this the YouTube thing?
I started in May 2019, so since December, right? It's yeah, about I cannot count right now because we are pre-filming. It's been 1.5 years, and then we add another 2 months. Yeah, so around there.
So was it like when you started out this channel, right? Your channel, do you actually plan to talk about finance and stocks?
Oh yeah, actually how I started, right? I knew I wanted to talk about money investing because these kind of conversations we shy away from. I don't know if it's an Asian culture, but growing up a lot of the time, my parents were like, "Oh, don't ask that of other people. You can ask that of us, but it's rude to ask other people about money and how they invest it and all of that." So I wanted to get that stigma away because I think we're all trying to figure it out. And the more we share, the easier it is to figure out. So I actually read Gary Vaynerchuk's book,
Nice.
Crush It, and also Crushing It. I read both. And then I wrote down all 50 topics that I wanted to talk about. And then only I got the courage to start.
Okay. So speaking of starting out, right, you doing YouTube channel, I have like a really massive respect because you say that you had a full-time job as well, right? So my question to you is that, right, how do you actually manage a full-time job, a YouTube channel, and your investment? Looking from your laughing, right? I'm looking forward to hear that.
Yes, I think everyone is very busy in their lives, and I didn't realize how crazy it would be to create content. So
Mhm.
now I have a mad respect for every content creator out there. They make it look easy, They're like, oh, I just like put on this camera and then I talk to y'all. Talk about, okay, I watch like a lot of beauty gurus, right? So I talk about my makeup, my clothes, and my life. They make it look so easy, but it's not, man. It's damn a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's
So I don't know lah. I juggle lah, and it's a constant struggle. And sometimes I find that my investments is not as on the ball when I concentrate too much on content creation. So I do need to uh, prioritize every single week. And lucky my full-time job is a 9 to 5. So after 8 to 5. And when 5 o'clock hits, I just use my free time quite wisely. I have to be very careful with my time. Lah.
Okay. So basically, you manage your time properly, lah.
Not all the time, lah, but I do my best.
Okay. So when you say like hard to come up with content, right? How hard is actually coming out with content? Because basically what you're doing is basically you're teaching what you're knowing, right? Well, is it very hard to put that into words format and implement it into a content?
Okay, yeah. So there's something I have to like really disclaim. People in the finance industry are very scared of saying I'm giving financial advice. And that's not what I'm doing because I'm not certified as a financial advisor. So I only share about, yeah, disclaimer, I only share about what works for me. So it might work for you and it might not. You need to test it out. And creating content around this for me is quite easy because I share exactly what I know. And it's just about how I feel that day, whether I want to share certain things and how to structure it. And because I don't script, it takes me a long time to get the video out because I go on a basis of how I feel. Does the video feel good, authentic, genuine? And the editing is, yeah, that takes time now when you don't script.
Okay. So may I ask, like, right? You say you do investment in stocks and everything, right? Let me ask you, like, why actually stocks though? Why not brick and mortar? Why not real estate?
Why not real estate? Great question. I don't have that much money lah.
Okay.
Yes, we don't always need a lot of money, but I don't really like the idea of tying down my paycheck every month to something very specific. And for property, I could be wrong lah, but my impression is that I need to get that selection right and it's one at a time. Whereas stocks, I do a portfolio and I do a minimum of 5 stocks, a maximum of 10. So at least, there is some leeway. If one stock or 3 stocks don't perform well, I still have 7 others. And it's more liquid lah. So if you want to sell, it's fast, it's instant.
Wow. So okay. So you're talking about stocks being liquid, right? I'm pretty sure you didn't learn this when you first starting out, right? So can you just share with us like one of the worst experience you done? I mean, you experienced when you stock trading. One of the worst experience, lah.
So I guess I need to clarify. I'm not a trader, so I'm a long-term investor, and I don't sell stocks. I don't sell my shares unless it meets certain criterion. Something has changed about the business, or or I'm taking profit. Bad incident. I haven't had very, very bad incidents. I've never had to cut loss, but I always find that I keep repeating certain mistakes, which is not taking profit when I need to lah, because I don't always monitor the market. So an example would be last week, right? Last week we had a big dip in the Malaysian market because
Oh yeah.
yeah, political instability, right? So that made the market freak out. So I was having really good profits at the start of last week, but because I didn't take profit in some, I lost the opportunity to lower down my average costs, and because of that, I couldn't buy in again. So this market has been very weird because my mindset is long term, right? So I don't really trade. But this market requires a little bit of trading, just a little. And that's where we can really see that growth in the portfolio. Lah. So that is my bad, but not so bad experience.
Okay. So doing all this, right? There's not always bad experience, lah. So let's talk about your best experience. So that means your worst experience was just a few weeks ago, lah.
No lah, it's constant because I keep not learning the lesson. So it's so bad that I'm not learning because it's maybe not painful enough. Because I do believe that sometimes we are like stubborn lah. We won't learn unless it's super painful.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about your best experience.
Best. Uh, just purely on the stock side. I think it was my first purchase. The first time I purchased a company, I was like hesitant. I was like, hey, should I do it? Should I not? And then when you first start out, you want validation. So the first thing I did was I went to ask my parents, hey, what do you think of this company? I'm gonna buy it. Then they said, hey, this one, don't buy lah. It's already so expensive. How much higher can it go? And I'm like, disappointed that I didn't buy. And then I watched every single week as it slowly creeped up. And then it hit a point where I was like, okay, I cannot listen to them anymore. I need to trust myself. Then I bought it. And then like 3 months later, the stock uh, went up 50%. And I was like, okay. So that felt good lah, that I trusted myself.
You trusted your gut lah rather than other people's advice lah.
Yeah, I trusted my gut, I trusted my research, and I put in the work lah. And then by luck as well, I got the returns.
Okay. So I want to ask you, right? So because the viewer of this podcast, right, are mostly around my age, like early 20s or going through the mid 20s, right? Nowadays, oh, actually, should we make this official? Okay, I'm 23 this year actually.
Oh, okay, you're 23. That's very cool. I'm 28.
Wow. Okay, you heard it. This guys is official in this podcast, All right.
I've
So
said it so many times, but yeah.
no, no.
Okay.
I mean, in my official podcast, lah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very young, huh?
Yeah, because I've been raised by my mom. Is like the one rule is don't ask a woman their age. So it's a very controversial topic for me to ask any woman of their age, lor.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of beliefs that we hold, and some of them might not be true anymore. So maybe this is one of them. But for me, I don't mind lah.
Okay, glad you said that, lah. So coming back to that question, right? So mostly the audience here are actually between 20 to 25, lah. Mostly the early 20s, lah. Most of them are actually not taking this opportunity because there's a lot of information out there, including yourself. You're giving out like valuable information how to start doing trading, right? Why, in your own perspective, right? Why do you think most of the people doesn't want to do investment,
um,
especially the young generation, lah?
This, I think, is quite interesting. I've been thinking about it a lot and reflecting on my own journey. I think when we haven't figured out the steps before investing, how are we supposed to invest? So, let's say if we're living paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of us do, and we need to figure out how to spend money and how to save the money before we invest. So there are a lot of barriers that come before investing, and some of them are mindset barriers, some of them are knowledge barriers. And because I guess the finance industry makes it really complex to understand, even though it can be simplified, I think that is the bulk of the barrier.
So I mean, from the knowledge you got, right? I remember you started doing investment when you are very young, right? 23, 24, right?
I started at 24, but I started learning at 22 lah.
So what actually prompt you to actually learn all this stuff and investments? Because you look at it, most of the kids, right? They don't think about this. They just think, graduate, get good grades, get a job, done, settle.
So I was very aware that wealth needed to be grown. And in my first job as a teacher, my CEO actually told us that, as a teacher, you're gonna hit a pay ceiling very, very fast. And there are pay ceilings in certain jobs lah. And as a creative or as a business owner, there is not really a pay ceiling, but as a teacher, yes lah.
Okay.
So it came from a place of pain, I think, that I was giving so much to my students, but I felt that I wasn't earning enough for myself. And if I wasn't earning enough, I I would have to look further into the future, right? How much will I be earning in 20, 30 years? And because I'm spending so much time and energy in my teaching job, I didn't really feel I had time for myself after work. So I felt like then I will never really feel financially secure or comfortable. So yeah, lah, then from that pain, when it was pain enough, then I started to move and to learn about investing. And at first, I thought I was going to invest in property because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, okay, Robert Kiyosaki, right?
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
That's okay, guys. That's actually a good book, man.
Yeah, it's a great book, but it just didn't suit my personality, lah, right? For property investing. So it's about matching the investments to yourself. And some people are going to be very good traders, but that's not me. Some people are good at crypto or Forex. That's not me. And it's about having that awareness that, you're not going to invest in every single asset class. You can try, but it's about the right fit at the end of the day.
Okay, cool. So, speaking of this, right? If let's say you want to say this to younger, you have the chance to talk to your younger self, and your younger self is asking you, "Hey, Suyin, how do I get started doing this investment?" Well, what will that be?
Ooh, how young am I?
Okay lah. For the sake of this YouTube channel categories, 20 to 20, 19 to 20.
19, 20. I would advise myself to look at my mindset. What were my thoughts around this? Why I wanted to build wealth? Because you need a reason to hold on to when things are very tough. If not, you'll give up. And I would also advise myself to work on the things that I can control first, which is my spending and my habits. Because you can earn a lot of money, that's for sure. But if your habits are all off, you're going to spend it all away. And earning money is so important, but it's not something that we can do straight away, right? So we can focus on how we spend money first, lah, and that's an easy first step.
All right, so cool. All right, so we're coming to the near end of the podcast, right? Actually, I asked some of my viewers to ask you because I told them, hey, I'm gonna be
Oh,
interviewing.
serious?
Yeah, so I'm like,
No, I didn't see this.
this is just selected people. I won't ask like because I don't reveal who I'm bringing to my podcast. So I ask around people around my age. Hey, I'm bringing Suyin. Do you know Suyin? Of course, bro. Like, okay, just give me the top 3 questions that you want me to ask her. Then I can ask you on behalf. Okay, so I just narrow it down to 3 questions. So because there's a lot of questions, I don't want to prolong it. So a first question, this is quite common to all of my people who's actually doing freelancing or doing their own jobs as well, right? As a creative, or for the sake of this podcast, or for the persons who don't live by paycheck by end of the month, right? How do we start investing when our own income is not even stable enough? That's like the most common question I always ask.
Yeah, it's an important question, but it's funny that you're asking me because I don't live like that. But assuming that I quit my job and did YouTube full time or a business full time, how would I go about it? Wow. I would actually I would actually do the same thing. I would build the emergency fund first. So you know that if you have a very lean month, you can actually sustain your lifestyle. I would also have a very strong incentive to earn at least a certain amount every month. Like force myself to earn whatever that amount is for basic necessities or monthly expenditure. And instead of that basic amount, I would actually make it higher, like 1,000 extra. And I assume that's how I would do it. And from there, the extra, I would invest the extra. Yeah, so forcing myself to earn a certain amount plus extra and then investing that extra. It's not easy, man. I don't know how y'all do it. How are you currently doing it right now?
Same thing because for me I have a quarter what's the word? You know that every year got 4 quarters, right?
Yes.
So every quarter I'll break it down to each month I need to earn exactly this much of revenue, and then there needs to be this much of money left in the bank as a cushion lah. So because of the freaking MCO, right? All my savings are gone. So it's like it's like coming back lah, slowly lah, just piling up little bit lah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have to be very creative in how you go about your business now. You have to diversify in more digital stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and also taking from the advice you give as well, and most of the advice that my mentors give is that living below your means. That means let's say you're earning like 1,000 ringgit, but you spend 999 900 ringgit. Doesn't make sense lah. So I'm trying to cut costs on stuff, which is for me is basically petrol and food. That's the money that goes out a lot lah. But food I can manage if I don't eat for like few.
Oh my God. You crazy?
Not so crazy lah, not so crazy lah.
You're so fire.
But if in terms of fuel, it comes down to meeting clients. Usually, if I have the opportunity, I'll do a Zoom call. If I don't have, just meet them nearby somewhere. Yeah, somewhere nearby lah. Just right now, the COVID situation is not even safe to go anywhere lor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alright.
And I think you brought up, oh, sorry, just extend a bit. I think you
Continue.
brought up a very good point. A lot of us live above our means or just at our means. And the key to feeling comfortable in our finances is to live significantly below our means, but also don't live until like so the road lah. Just
Maggie cup all day.
decent, no Maggie all day. Your health will suffer, and we have one body for our whole life lah. So yeah lah, just practice being a millionaire, because millionaires don't really spend like millionaires. That's how they stay millionaires.
So, going back to the second question that is mostly everybody is asking, with the current economy state, right? Do you think we should be start investing or not?
Ooh.
Okay, there's a lot of investment journey like real estate. For me, I do real estate investment. So if there's an economic crash, right, that's the best time to enter real estate one, because all the price will drop. But so it's a different perspective lah. But let's take to your own perspective is doing stocks and this and that, right? So do you think it's a good time to invest?
I think as long as you have your emergency fund covered, this is the best time to invest, because there are so many great deals for stock investments, individual companies, if you're into individual stocks, that are great companies. They're just having a rough time, so it reflects in the current numbers. But if the industry is right, the company is good, management is good, all of the criteria is okay, they will recover, and this is when you're going to make a lot of money over the long term. And if you're an ETF investor, same, it's buying more when things are bad, and that is the mindset that we need to get into. But at the same time, our stock market doesn't behave like our economy.
Yeah.
So even though the economy is doing really, really badly, our stock market, in general, yes, is doing bad, but certain companies are still doing really well. And you just need to look on a case by case basis.
Okay. So here's another thing, right? It's not a question, but this is what I was doing some research, right? Some of them they're saying, right, when you're investing in, let's say, stocks, like the IPO, right? They say don't follow the well-known companies like Tesla, Apple. Don't buy all their stocks. Try to do some research. Buy the unknown companies where actually they are making a lot of money. Is that true or is that fake?
So there's two schools of thought, and people feel very passionate about it, and they try to shove it down your throats. So this is the growth investor versus the value or dividend investor. So growth companies are like what you mentioned, the FANG companies, the Teslas, uh, Amazon, Apple. So they're very well known, and they go up in price, in stock price, for a number of reasons, and um, some of them are really profitable and still have a lot of growth left. And I do believe there is value in investing in them if you are very good at this and you can find these undervalued obscure companies that nobody knows about. That is also another way to make a lot of money, and both are right, actually. So it's just what you want to follow and what is right for you lah. And how much volatility can you stomach.
Okay. So okay guys, so if you guys want to know like in starting out there's a lot of platforms to actually enter and do trading, right? But for the sake of this podcast, and if you want to learn where to actually get started, there's a nice app called Stashaway. That's where actually I found Suyin out, and it's been doing well. I'm not being like putting that much of money because I literally have no money to spend. I'm trying to gather up my savings. But if you want to know more about that, Suyin does. Recently, you did like a 1 or 2 years update, right?
Oh, it's a 1 year update. I did that in August. And then recently I did another update, and that was showing you that I've put more money in Stashaway, because I'm the kind of person, I think most women are, we are very careful, more risk averse. So we test out. And then once we believe in it, we like full focus, very like zoomed in, and we go, go, go. So at first I was only putting 250 ringgit every month consistently, and then now I'm putting 1,000 ringgit every month. So there's a big jump, and yeah, I think my portfolio will grow to quite a sizable amount.
Okay. So if you guys want to know about that thing, right, just go to Suyin's YouTube channel and go check it out, lah. So Suyin, our last question for the day, right? The do's and don'ts in investments. Sorry, in investing. Sorry.
Do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Uh, do do the work. Trust your research. Don't fall into FOMO. It's very easy to fall into fear of missing out.
Okay.
And do manage your emotions, because being aware of our emotions is very important no matter what kind of investor you are. It's when we freak out that is the problem, and that's where things can get pretty ugly. Do surround yourselves with people who make you better, help you learn, and I don't know what other don'ts are there.
don't don't be stubborn.
I don't know. Don't don't do things that go against your values, I guess.
Okay. Is that just one don't? Is it?
I got two. I said don't FOMO.
Okay. So, Suyin, do you want to say anything to the audience before we end this podcast?
Well, I don't really know who you are, but I really think it's great that there's a podcast for creatives. And I don't know about you lah, but I've always heard this expression that parents tell us when we were growing up, like, oh, don't pursue the creative route because it's a very tough route. There's not a lot of money to be made. And if you make it big, yes, you can make a lot of money. I don't know if that's what you got growing up, but that's what I had.
Technically, disclaimer, that's what my mom tells me every day.
Oh my God. Yeah. So it's so tough, right? But I think the world has changed, and there are so many more opportunities. And there is a reason why the entertainment industry is as big as it is, right? Because people love to be entertained, they love to be inspired, and all of that. Lah. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And yeah, the world needs more creatives, and it needs more creatives that have money figured out, because then they can make even more amazing impact.
Yeah, and they can keep surviving lah.
Yeah, and not just survive lah, and thrive, because it's deserved lah. I think artists are super undervalued, and well, I think we can figure out a way to make money work for us.
All right. So that's it, guys. You heard it from Suyin. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And if you guys have any more questions about how to invest, how to do your whole financing, go check out Suyin's YouTube channel. It'll be in the description below. And I'll be doing putting some links of the favorite videos that I watched from Suyin and got some value from it. So do check it out as well. And yeah, Happy New Year's, guys. 2020 is gonna be ending soon, and hopefully 2021 is our year.
For sure, for sure. Happy New Year, everybody, and it'll be a great one. And it cannot be as bad as this year.
I think this is only like
This year only like 3 months only. January, February, and then December. I only remember that month. Alright, guys. Thank you guys for watching. And always, guys, go out there, discover, connect, and inspire. And I'll see you guys in the next video.